Afternoon, VC, Harris here with another video. Got a MoFi joke. I've been working on this for 7 weeks. What has MoFi and Macaulay Culkin got in common? In retrospect, it may have been better if neither had got involved with Michael Jackson. That's 7 weeks of my life. I can't get back. This seems like a bad time to say, if you are a Michael Jackson fan, please like and subscribe. More Jackson comment on the way. It did get me thinking, because I love, as a nipper, I loved Off the Wall by Michael Jackson. I still love it. I still get excited when I'm going to put it on. I still think it's Quincy Jones on the knobs, and songwriting's amazing. And but it's almost what I consider a perfect album, bar 2 tracks. One is the Paul McCartney Killer, which is what is it? She's Out of My Life, or Girlfriend? I don't know. It's Girlfriend by McCartney. What stinks the place out. And but I was thinking, do I have any perfect albums? I was trying to predict. I've probably bought 5,000 or 6,000 albums in my life, CD, tape, whatever. Probably around there. Something along those lines. And I don't think I've ever had really a perfect album where I love every track and I don't skip one, which I quite like. I think if I found the perfect album, that would be sort of game over. So I've tried to pick some out, and actually there are a couple of these I don't skip tracks on, but maybe the tracks I don't skip aren't amazing. But these are as close as I can get, I think, to perfect albums. And first up, TRex, Slider. I love it. I prefer. Do you know what? It's an absolute battle between this and the previous album. But maybe because this is a UK first press, by the way. Beautiful. This sounds amazing. What tips this over for me is Baby Strange on side 2. I love Baby Strange by TRex. It's a record that I've never got sick of in 35 years of listening to it. And what was the program before? Electric Warrior. Jess Pipp's Electric Warrior, which is also amazing. But yeah, I'll take TRex, the Slider, as an almost perfect album. I think there's one track on here. There's the start side 2. Rabbit Fighter, maybe I'm not as keen on, but what an album. Next up, not a band I'm a huge fan of, funny enough, and they didn't really translate to the UK. Static Age by the Misfits. The Misfits were never that big in England, really. They were kind of the American Jam, in the way that the Jam never came over in America, because they were singing about very English issues and English themes. Maybe the Misfits were a little bit too American. They were quite kitschy. They sung about sort of trashy things, TV, Marilyn Monroe, la la la. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. I don't know the full story of this album. It finally came out about 97. I think it was going to be their debut, and but it never happened, and there was some dispute. This is fantastic, because I think I love this because it kind of feels like an English album. This is close to the Damned's debut. I've got to say this is better than the Damned's debut in my opinion. This track listing is awesome. Static Age, Last Caress, Return of the Fly, Hybrid Moments, We Are 138, Hollywood Babylon. This is just absolutely incredible. Production-wise, it stinks the place out. It really does. I don't know if there would be a decent copy of this available, but this is just amazing. Static Age by the Misfits. Finally came out in 97. I think they recorded it in 78. Someone's going to know a lot more about the Misfits than me. This is brilliant. It's kind of almost Buzzcocky meets the Damned. I think it's better than the Damned's first album, and that's saying something because I love the Damned's first album. But yeah, fantastic. Static Age by the Misfits. Next up, the Return of the Durati Column by the Durati Column. This was their first album. Came out on Factory Records just around the same time as Joy Division's Closer. Famously came out in a sandpaper sleeve design, so any record it sat next to would get destroyed. And actually, when you read the books about Joy Division, they all glued the sleeves on to the album while watching a pornographic film that Tony Wilson had given them. So like Ian Curtis and that were gluing on the sandpaper sleeves. I got the repress as well, which actually has the sandpaper sleeve. There it is. And it did destroy one of my records, as you can see here. I'll tell you about that in a minute. This is a beautiful album, about 20 minutes long, all instrumental. Vinnie Riley on he uses an Echoplex guitar, uses this little Echoplex effect. Just beautiful, shimmering instrumentals. I love it. I've always loved this album. It feels like it's going to fall apart at any minute. Vinnie Riley, I think, is one of the greatest guitarists, if not the greatest guitarist of all time. And beautiful album, The Return of the Durati Column on Factory Records. This is the repress with the sandpaper sleeve. The sandpaper sleeve did destroy. I never put my records in sleeves. It did destroy one of my records, and there is a certain irony. This would also be one of my almost perfect records. The Smiths' Queen is Dead. Only let down. The Queen is Dead. Meat is Murder by the Smiths. Only let down by the track Meat is Murder, which actually live sounds fantastic, but not that great. The other track, this is a Johnny Marr masterclass. He does it all on here, like jazz guitar, rockabilly guitar, heavy metal guitar, acoustic folk. He's absolutely Johnny Marr. I still think Johnny Marr's underrated. I really do. I mean, I think Vinnie Riley was a huge influence from the Dorothy column on Johnny Marr. This is his masterpiece, really, and they get the production they deserve. This is the UK first press, which was notoriously bad pressing. That Dorothy column sandpaper sleeve did tear a hole in my Meat is Murder. Now, the irony or the coincidence being that Vinnie Riley and Morrissey don't like each other anymore, because Vinnie Riley did all the guitar on Morrissey's first album, and if you listen to Boner Drag off that first Morrissey album again, and listen to Vinnie Riley, it's like he's pulling off a Van Halen job on that. Super. Boner Drag just still sounds amazing to me. So his album tore a hole in the sleeve here. So I actually bought another copy. One, that's a bad pressing. This is a Portuguese pressing, and this sounds great. And yeah, fantastic. And it's only Meat is Murder that I don't like on this album. The rest of it's fantastic. Next up, I've seen a few people show this recently. Ben Rankins, amazing channel. Subscribe to Ben Rankins. I think the Omaha Introvert's shown this. I think Baggy Hi-Fi, another amazing channel, has shown this. Go-Betweens, Before Hollywood. This is their second album on Rough Trade. They moved from Brisbane in Australia to Eastbourne to record this, which was it would be a bit like moving from London to Delaware in America to record your album. That simply doesn't make any sense. This is a great album, kind of angular, indie, came out in '82 on Rough Trade. Lindy Morrison, the drummer, she's the absolute star on here. These sort of unusual drum patterns, almost a bit like Television, but like an indie, somewhere between the Smiths, Orange Juice and Television, this. And I just love this album. I bought it 33 years ago, and I still listen to it once or twice a year, and I still love it. Actually, there's no duffers on here. There's a couple of tracks I don't like as much as the others, but again, I don't skip anything on this. And probably its best known track is Cattle and Cane, which was kind of... But I don't actually... Cattle and Cane is one of the tracks I'm not as keen on, but yeah, fantastic record. Next up, I think Noble Records loves this. I think this might be in his best. It's the self-titled Towns Van Zandt album, which I love. I absolutely love. I don't want to call it country or folk, really. To me, it sort of transcends that. It's just fantastic tunes. And I don't skip a track on this album. It's got, although some of it is quite, serious, folky. I don't know how to describe it, but it's got fantastic pop song on it. Fare Thee Well, Miss Carousel. It's got to be one of the great pop songs of the 60s. But I love this album. It's a self-titled Towns Van Zandt album, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's a no-risk disc. Next up, you can tell a lot of these albums I love because they're all falling apart. Sparks, #1 Song in Heaven. This seems so futuristic. Look at this. It's absolutely knackered, this album. Just beautiful sort of disco. Giorgio Moroder, who did Donna Summer's I Feel Love, each produced this. There's no duffers on there. There's only 6 tracks, but it's this beautiful sort of gliding electric anthems. Best known song on here is probably Stop the Clock, but #1 Song in Heaven, the Dolce Vita. That's all beautiful. It's all beautiful. Sparks. They're getting a lot more popular on the VC, aren't they? Sparks, but I've always been a bit up and down with Sparks. I don't even like the album that everyone loves, the one with This Town Is. I'm not a big fan of that, but this is an absolute beauty. Next up, again, another one that I've caned. Marvin Engaged, Let's Get It On. I understand why this isn't as highly thought of as what's going on because of the probably the content, but I don't think there's a duff. Again, this one's absolutely screwed. Look, I don't think there's a duff track on here. I think this is wonderful, this album. Absolutely wonderful. I can't say enough about Let's Get It On. And there's just no duff tracks on this. It just plays and runs, and it's as natural as breathing, and it's beautiful. I might have shown this before. The Right Time by the Mighty Diamonds came out, I think, 75. Got the amazing I Need a Roof on it, but this whole album is amazing. I think the best vocal group reggae album. My personal favourite. Don't skip a track on this. It's an amazing album. Last up, I absolutely adore this. I'm a huge fan of Chic. They were on a roll when they brought this out. Sister Sledge's We Are Family. Look at this track listing. He's the Greatest Dancer, Lost in Music, Somebody Loves Me, Thinking of You. Paul Weller did a good job on that, actually. We Are Family don't even come until side 2. Then it's Easier to Love, You're a Friend to Me. Well, this is like a greatest hits. This was their, I think their second album, but their first was Chic. Chic were on such a run at this point. The first 3 Chic albums were phenomenal. Then they brought this out. Then they did Diana Ross's Diana. Then, oh man, they were on an absolute roll. And then, of course, they went on to do David Bowie albums and stuff like that, and writing for Madonna. Nile Rodgers wrote for Madonna a lot, and wrote for Bowie, Let's Dance and all that. But this is this is wonderful. We Are Family by Sister Sledge, and you can get this for peanuts, and it's just beautiful. It's just the greatest. Anyway, that's, I think, 10 of my what I consider almost perfect albums. Thanks for watching. I'm sure I'll be doing some other videos soon. Thank you.